What is going on, guys? Today in this video, I'm going to tell you why NBA teams are dead and what I think is next and why it could be a problem for the NBA. Let's go! All right, guys. So I don't know if you've noticed, but the last NBA Finals with the Boston Celtics, nobody cared about. Like the Boston Celtics won. Just think about this. The Boston Celtics, one of the original NBA teams. They've been around forever. The back and forth between them and the Lakers back in the 80s and in the 90s and just the dynamic, the legacy of the Boston Celtics. That team, since Paul Pierce, has not won an NBA championship, even though they've had a ton of stars roll through there, including Kyrie Irving. Just some incredible players have yet to win an NBA championship until last year. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but after they won, it really wasn't that big of a deal. And I think I know why. You see, this actually goes back into something that changed, I think, with the newest NBA commissioner, which was we no longer really celebrate teams, we celebrate individuals. Now you might be going, hey, Justice, like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, all these people were like people that we remembered. Yes, but there were only a few. There was only like Larry Bird. It was Larry Bird, it was Magic Johnson, it was Michael Jordan. There weren't like individual players that were superstars on every single team that every single person knew. But at some point, something switched. And the NBA, which is why we have these massive contracts, became an individual league that happened to play on a team. The NBA is about the players. Now, some people might say, well, Justice, what do you want to do? What are we supposed to do? How would this change? And I'm not saying it has to change. In fact, I think it should. But let's look at the NFL. The biggest sports league in the world, maybe in the world, but definitely in the United States. It's massive. They are a team-focused league. If an individual becomes a star, great. There might be a few here or there, but you only think about the team. Even after you think about Patrick Mahomes, you go, I wonder where he's going to go if he gets traded or any of that stuff. And that's a bad example because he's the face of the league, but we think about him as the Chiefs, right? I'm a huge fan of Kyrie Irving. He's been on a million teams. I don't care about the team. Ice Trey, I don't care about the team. Kevin Durant, I don't care what team he's on. I could go on and on. Steph Curry, awesome, you're on Golden State. Don't care. I want to watch players. Whereas in the NFL, I will watch a team. I want to know how the team is doing. I want to know if the team is going to make the playoffs. And then I think about the player that stands out on that team, whether it's on the offense or the defense. Now, at some point, the commissioner decided to really focus on these players, right? It kind of happened after Kobe Bryant. We just started seeing this focus on celebrating the player more than the team. Now, what that has resulted in is these massive contracts for the players. It's a players' league. You can kind of tell that the players are in charge. You can look at LeBron James on the Lakers or wherever he wants to go. You can tell he kind of carries the weight. He makes the decision. Now, you might be saying that's a rarity, but if you look around in a lot of these leagues, it's the players are in charge, even more so on a lot of the teams than the coaches. Now, what ends up happening when the league is so individually focused, just so focused on the individual more than the team, more than the franchise? What happens? Well, eventually, and we're starting to see it, in fact, some would say that we've been seeing it, is that you get players that are entitled. Now, those entitled players then decide, where do I want to actually play? Not like what team, but like, do I need to play today or do I need to rest? So they might show up in a city where they know the team is going to win the game and the player might actually sit out. So that 11-year-old kid that couldn't wait to see LeBron James sees him in a suit instead of sees him in a jersey. It's because at some point they decided we're going to be a player-focused league. So then, if the players want to boycott or whatever, it happens pretty quickly because they've got these fat contracts, and so they don't worry about missing out on money. They've got enough money set aside. Eventually what's going to happen is the play in the NBA, meaning how the games are, how exciting the games are, is actually going to decrease. The competitiveness is decreasing. Have you ever noticed that in the NBA, everyone seems to be friends? Other than Draymond Green, everyone gets along with each other. Part of it is that they all played in AAU together, they kind of know each other, but there's no battle. There's no animosity. There's no, let's go in like, I want to kill you on the basketball court. There's none of that. Now we watch friends go back and score hundreds of points, and they walk away, and we only remember the player because of what the player did. I think Golden State is probably one of the last remaining franchises that is more team focused. Yes, they have Steph Curry, but it feels like that franchise is really focused on the team. And we're starting to see that because they're disbanding the Draymond Green, the Klay Thomas, and Steph Curry. It's like, Klay's now playing with the Mavs. So, what happens to the future? I think the NBA is dead. I think it's dead. I think we're watching the beginning of its death. Now you might be saying, are you freaking kidding me? What does that even mean? It will always exist. It will always exist. It will always have people watch it. But eventually what you're going to see is less and less people are going to watch it, because less and less people are going to want to tune in unless their favorite player is playing. So if you have a team with no star, then no one's really going to watch it. And no one's really going to want to go to the games. And then if these players are playing each other and they're all friends, the competition goes down, which means the viewership goes down because it's not entertaining. The last thing is this. There has been this feeling, and I know it's kind of a conspiracy feeling or conspiracy theory, but I can't help but think that so many NBA games are so controlled by the refs. NFL too, that it feels like some of these games are scripted. Meaning, and I don't like the word scripted because it sounds like the players know what needs to be done at what time. I would say it's heavily influenced by the referees, and the referees have an intention. If you think about it, the NBA Finals, you don't want the only people interested in watching it being the fans in the city. You want everyone in the United States wanting to tune in to see who's going to win because they like a player or they want to see a player win. There's a storyline. Now, if you know that more people are going to view it, and you can show those numbers to people that want to advertise during those times and say, we got these many numbers, then it means you need certain teams there. You need certain players in the playoffs to create a story, to create a narrative. And I think the referees know that. I think the referees help get certain teams to the playoffs and other teams out of them, even if certain teams are better. Because who wants to watch the Nets in the playoffs? Nobody. I don't even remember the team from Arizona, but who wants to watch them in the playoffs? Do you want to see OKC in the finals? Like, think about it. You probably don't. Now, you might want to see the Mavs because they've got Luka and they've got Kyrie, who people are fans of. So I do think there's a little bit of that. But at the end of the day, I think we are seeing the beginning of the death of the NBA. Let's go. Justice Marini.